A furious row has broken out between pro-Remain and pro-Leave MPs over a call to delay Brexit. The Exiting the EU committee has published a report saying the UK should consider postponing Brexit and extending the transition period to give more time to strike a deal with the EU.
But pro-Brexit members of the committee have disowned the official report and published their own alternative. Well, earlier we heard from the pro-Remain chairman of the committee, Hilary Benn.
It's about getting the best deal, sorting out all of these arrangements, and if that takes a little bit more time, we are still leaving the European Union. There's no question of undermining the referendum or overturning the result. If it requires a little more time to get the best deal while we have the maximum negotiating clout, as the Secretary of State himself said, then isn't that a sensible thing to do?
Well, let's talk to Conservative MP and pro-Brexit member of that committee, John Whittingdale, who joins us live from Malden in Essex. Inside, Mr Whittingdale, I'm glad to see you, away from the cold. Good for you. Look, in terms of how these committees work, I mean, there is a level of democracy on the committees, isn't there? I mean, the majority of members support the official report. Why isn't that good enough?
Well, I chaired a select committee for 10 years, and certainly wherever possible, a committee will try to produce a report which all members can sign up to. The problem in this instance is that you have a very divisive issue, and there is a majority on the committee of people who supported remaining within the EU. And whilst Hilary Benn says they all accept the referendum result, many of them, I suspect, regret the referendum result, and if they can stay on in the EU for as long as they can drag it out, that's what they want to do. And the report's conclusions were ones which we could not possibly sign up to, that we should delay still further the exit and set an indefinite transition period which could go on, for a long time to come. People are already impatient, and in my view, the last thing you do in a negotiation at this stage is say, well, we may not get agreement, so we better keep talking about it for even longer. The whole history of Europe shows that agreements are reached often at the very last minute when that pressure is really on. And what the report says is we should take the pressure off.
But Hilary Benn, the chairman of that committee, told us that, that there is no suggestion, as far as he is concerned, that Brexit would not happen. He is committed to it happening, but it's got to happen on the right terms, he says.
Well, it's going to happen, and I hope that we will reach agreement with the European Union, but it's not dependent upon reaching the European Union. With the European Union, the decision is taken. It was taken in the referendum, and we will leave. And actually, the fact that we are going to leave and the fact that there is a set date on which we're going to leave will concentrate the mind and is the best way of trying to ensure we do get a good agreement in time. If we start saying, oh, well, actually, we'll put it off, we'll keep talking for a bit longer, then it's far less likely that the European Union is going to give us the deal we want.
Whilst the chairman himself seems pretty relaxed about what you've done, I mean, obviously he says, quite rightly, that many amendments are often tabled, and he seems quite relaxed about your minority report. Some other members, I mean, Stephen Kinnock, who we've talked to, says basically you've been very, very disrespectful to how the committee works.
Well, I don't accept that at all. As I say, I've been a chairman for a long time. It's always been the case that if committees cannot agree, and this is an issue on which there are very strongly held opinions on both sides, then it is up to members of any member of the committee to table an alternative view, and that gets voted on, as took place. Now, that's not disrespectful. It's the normal procedure of a committee when agreement cannot be reached.
John Whittingdale, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you very much indeed.